Have you ever worked with a system that generates data, but you want to pull this data into a different system in order to better analyze it? This is Jake from Deephaven, and I'm here to demo how to do this in Deephaven using data from Prometheus. This demo is part of our Prometheus and Deephaven blog series, and you can click on the link in the description for more information. This app collects data from Prometheus via its REST API and stores it into Deephaven tables, allowing you to use this data within Deephaven. Let's launch the app and see what happens. There are quite a few files in here, but the two main ones to look at are the Deephaven application mode config file and the Python script. Let's look at the config file. This file simply defines what happens when Deephaven is launched. As you can see, it's expecting a Python script, and here is the Python script that will run. Now let's look at the Python script. This script defines constants and helper functions to pull data from Prometheus and creates the tables and plots in Deephaven. All of this code runs when Deephaven is launched. So what does this app do? Using Python's HTTP request library, it pulls data from Prometheus's REST API and deserializes it to grab the information you need. This app starts with two tables, a static table and a dynamic table, that store the data. Let's open up the Deephaven UI and view these tables. Here we have the static table, and here we have the dynamic table. The static table simply collects historical data once, while the dynamic table is continually updating with new data in real time. Let's reverse this table so that we can see the data coming in. Since the dynamic data continually updates in real time, we're going to focus on that data for this demo. There are many ways to work with data. You can compute an average of the data, you can compute an exponential moving average of the data, you can bucket your data by the minute and compute the average per minute, and you can also truncate your data. Let's look at our Python script to see where we do this. So here we compute an average of our data. Here is where we bucket our data by the minute and compute the average by the minute. Here is where we truncate our data, and here is where we compute an exponential moving average of our data. Let's see what these tables look like in Deephaven. So here's our average. Here's our average by the minute. Here's our truncated data. And here's our exponential moving average. As you can see, these values are updating in real time. One unique feature of Deephaven is its ability to compute these values based on the source table, and since the source table is updating in real time, the averages also update in real time. As a quick exercise, let's take our Python code that buckets the data by the minute and change it to bucket by every 30 seconds. So we're going to store this in a new variable, and we're going to change this value to be every 30 seconds. And as we can see, our time buckets are now every 30 seconds. You can also show this data visually through Deephaven's plots. You can use a line plot of the data to see the average by the minute, and you can use a histogram plot to see how the data is distributed. Let's view in the code where we do this. So right here is where we're creating our line plot. We have our table, and then we have the values that we want to use for the plot. Similarly, for the histogram plot, we have our table, and then we have the value that we're looking at, and then how many buckets we want to use to distribute the data. Let's view these plots in Deephaven. So here we have our line plot, and here we have our distribution. Just like the tables, these plots also update in real time as more data comes in. Deephaven has many other operations that you can use to work with your data. Check out our developer documentation in the description to see more of what you can do with Deephaven. And that concludes this demo. You can click on the GitHub link in the description of this video to view the code for this project. Thank you so much for watching.